All right, let's get right into it. The Social Security Administration just dropped its big annual report. And trust me, it's making some serious waves for pretty much everyone, whether you're retired now or will be in the future. This stuff affects us all, so we're going to break down what this new deadline really means.
So, the big question is, what's the real story here? You see the headlines, you hear the chatter, but what does this new Social Security report actually say? We're going to cut through all that noise and get straight to the facts.
And look, I'm just going to be straight with you. The main headline isn't great news. But, and this is important, it is not all doom and gloom. Not even close. There's a challenge for sure, but there's also a clear path forward. So, let's get into it.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the big one, the headline that is everyone talking. This is the single most important change in the new report, and it's all about the timeline.
So, up until now, the forecast from last year's report said that Social Security's trust funds, think of them as the program's financial cushion, had enough cash to pay out 100% of benefits until the year 2035. That was the magic number everyone was focused on.
Well, that's changed. The new report just moved the goalposts. The new estimate is now 2034, a full year sooner. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just 1 year, right? But when you're talking about a program this massive, a 1-year shift is a really big deal.
And here's what that really means in plain English. The deadline for Congress to act before we see potential benefit cuts just got a year shorter. The pressure is on, and that ticking clock just got a whole lot louder.
So, the obvious next question is, why? Why did the date move up? To get that, we've got to pop the hood and take a quick look at how Social Security's finances actually work.
First off, let's be clear about these trust funds. The easiest way to think about them is as a giant backup savings account. When the money coming in from payroll taxes isn't enough to cover all the benefits going out, the system dips into this account to make sure everyone gets their full check.
So here's how the money flows. Step 1. Every payday, you and your employer pay payroll taxes. Now, that money doesn't go into a personal lockbox with your name on it. Instead, Step 2, it's used immediately to pay benefits to people who are retired right now. And Step 3, if there's a gap between what's coming in and what's going out, that's where the trust funds, that big savings account, come in to fill the hole.
And right there, that's the root of the issue. As the massive baby boomer generation continues to retire, you have more and more people drawing benefits. Over time, that means there are fewer workers paying into the system for every one person taking money out. Combine that demographic shift with new economic forecasts that are just a little less rosy on long-term growth, and boom, that backup savings account gets drained just a little bit faster.
Okay, so we know the deadline moved up, and we know why. But what does this actually mean for you, for your parents, for your neighbors? What happens if the clock runs out and Congress does nothing?
Now, this is probably the single most important point to understand, so listen close. Social Security is not going bankrupt. It's not just going to disappear. Even if that big savings account runs dry, the program keeps collecting payroll taxes from working Americans, and it will keep paying out benefits. The money doesn't just stop.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, it could only pay out what it brings in. And according to this new report, if nothing changes, that would trigger an automatic across-the-board benefit cut of 19% for everybody. Think about that. That's a huge chunk of income vanishing overnight for tens of millions of people.
And the human cost of a cut that deep is just staggering. One of the analyses we looked at put it this way, saying a cut like that could spark a widespread poverty crisis among retirees that, frankly, nobody is prepared to handle. So yeah, the stakes could not be higher.
All right, so if doing nothing is not an option, what are the fixes? What's actually on the table? Well, it usually boils down to two main ideas that lawmakers keep coming back to.
On one hand, you have the idea of raising the full retirement age. Right now, it's 67 for most folks. The proposal would be to gradually push that back, probably only for younger people who are still decades away from retiring. On the other hand, you have the option of raising taxes, specifically that 6.2% payroll tax that both you and your employer pay.
And here's why that new 2034 deadline really matters. You can't just flip a switch on these kinds of changes. To make it fair, any fix, whether it's raising the age or raising taxes, would have to be phased in very, very slowly over many years. You can't wait until 2033 to figure this out. The sooner they act, the more gradual and less painful the solution can be.
Okay, so we've looked at the new timeline, what's causing the shortfall, and the possible solutions. Let's boil it all down to the final takeaway. What's the bottom line here?
First, let's repeat the good news one more time because it's so important. Social Security is not going away. It's not going bankrupt. As long as people are working and paying their taxes, there will always be money coming in to pay benefits.
The challenge, though, is that this report just turned up the heat. That ticking clock we've been talking about, it just got a year louder, and it puts lawmakers in the hot seat to stop kicking the can down the road and actually find a solution.
And that really leaves us with the billion-dollar question. Historically, Congress has always managed to pull out a last-minute deal to save the day. But now, with that deadline looming a full year closer, you have to ask, will they find a solution in time this go-around, or will they wait until the brink of a crisis that no one is ready for?